What's up everyone, Darcblade here bringing you my video reviews for E3 2014. In these videos I'm going to talk about each of the press conferences and what I thought about them. Joining me is Failbunny #1.
Hello.
And she's going to be giving her opinion too. In this one we're going to talk about the Microsoft press conference, the Xbox media briefing. This entire show was supposed to be dedicated to games. And do you think Microsoft actually achieved this?
I think they did, yeah.
I got to agree, because basically I don't think they showed off one bit of hardware during the show.
I think they had a piece of software, didn't they?
Yeah, well, all of it was software. Okay,
Yeah, but
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. That was the stuff to do with developing your own indie games.
We'll get to that later.
Anyway, the show started off with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. They showed a single-player trailer.
I quite liked it.
Yeah, the single-player trailer was okay, but normally Call of Duty single-player is not the meat of the game.
Well, maybe the multiplayer's not quite done yet.
That's true. Normally, talking about previous Call of Duties, the multiplayer has always been shown off later on in the game's development.
Yeah, probably to get the hype up about it closer to the release date.
That's true. They did announce, though, that the DLC, as always, would be first on the Xbox consoles. Disappointed about this or not?
No, I'm not too fast.
Fair enough. I mean, it will come out for the other systems eventually.
What's the release date for it?
Well, apparently the release date they gave us was the 4th of November 2014.
That's good.
Anyway, moving on, they next announced a new track for Forza 5.
The Nürburgring.
I can't remember how to pronounce it. I think it's a track in Germany. I might be wrong, but don't...
That was the track with the graffiti on it. That's what I remember.
I'm not a big racing fan, unfortunately, so I can't comment too much on that. Whether it had to be announced during the actual conference is another question, because it wasn't the biggest of news.
It was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Look, here's a new track.
But anyway, they segued on from that into announcing Forza Horizon 2.
That looked really good.
The graphics were quite impressive, although I feel that graphics in racing games are generally quite good anyway.
Is that the one where they had the dynamic weather?
I believe it was. I believe it was dynamic weather and lighting, so it went from day to night kind of thing.
That's good.
Anyway, that was supposed to be released on 30th of September this year. Next, they went on to talk about Evolve, a game I know you're personally interested in.
I am, yeah.
Basically, they announced a beta and DLC, which is going to be Xbox exclusive for a month, so similar to how the DLC works on Call of Duty.
Again, I'm not too fussed about that. Personally, I'm not that fond of betas, because when I want to play a game, I want it to be done. I want it to be finished.
Yeah, but, I mean, don't you like to get involved in the betas and try to give feedback to how the game could be improved? And
I understand that that's a vital bit of the process, but no, I want to stay out of it.
Oh, well, fair enough, each to their own. They also went on to show a class trailer, which was quite interesting, showing each of the 4 human classes. Okay, I think one of them is a robot actually, but still, with the classes and one of them being the monster, I'm worried that everyone will want to play the monster because it does sound very powerful.
I want to be the monster.
See, exactly.
I wanted to be the hunter first, but now I want to be the monster. And Evolve is out in this fall, isn't it?
I believe so. They didn't actually give a specific date. Anyway, then they went on to show Assassin's Creed Unity.
They showed gameplay, didn't they?
They did. They showed a gameplay trailer, and the big thing about this was that they showed it was 4-player co-op in the single player. A big and first for the Assassin's Creed series. The game seems to be set in France around the 1800 timeline. I think the actual gameplay was set just before the 1800s. It's supposed to be in revolutionary France. What do you think of that timeline?
I'm not too fussed about it. I mean, it's going to be hard to top Black Flag. That was the best one so far, in my opinion.
Assassin's Creed 2 or Black Flag were definitely the best ones. But I think they were the best ones, partly the gameplay, but also partly because of the main character. I think Assassin's Creed Unity could fail or be a success depending on how the main character is.
Yeah, that's it. They didn't show us anything about who he is.
They showed us very little of his personality, shall we say.
And absolutely none in the Microsoft conference.
No, that was pure gameplay, which was good, and it definitely showed us how the game was working, and I'm getting a little bit hyped for it. Anyway, they didn't give us actually any release date for Assassin's Creed Unity during the Microsoft event, unfortunately. Next, they went on to show Dragon Age Inquisition. They showed a trailer, what the game was sort of about. They announced that there would be premium content on Xbox first.
Premiere. The content would premiere on Xbox first. would get the content first.
Yes, Xbox would get the content first, similar to how the Call of Duty franchise works.
I really like the dragons in it. They're actual dragons on 4 legs instead of
Wyverns on 2 legs.
wyverns on 2 legs, yes.
Wyverns, wyverns, whatever, however you pronounce it. The game looked okay though.
It did. When's the release date?
The release date for Dragon Age Inquisition is the 7th of October, all being well.
Oh, right.
Next, they went on to show Sunset Overdrive. This was actually quite an interesting trailer because it was actually quite amusing. It started off giving us the wrong impression, like it was going to be another Battlefield game with the soldier behind the crate.
Yeah.
And then, bam, it turned into quite a funny trailer, amusing. Very reminiscent of maybe sort of like Deadpool trailer in the past or something like that.
Remind me, has Sunset Overdrive been done before? It's just...
Sunset Overdrive is a new IP. I believe it is an Xbox exclusive. It's a very colourful, I would say, third-person action game.
Was it cel-shaded, this one?
No, it didn't seem cel-shaded. But although it had a bit of a cartoon vibe about it. But anyway, like I said, it's very colourful. They announced an 8-player co-op during the conference as well for Sunset Overdrive. Overall, it looked okay, although I'm a little bit worried about the gameplay and that it's very similar to other games out there.
Well, similar to Deadpool. In the trailer,
I wouldn't say it's similar to Dead.
he broke the 4th wall, he had the same kind of banter.
Okay, in that sense, maybe, yeah. But gameplay-wise, I would say it's maybe reminiscent of games like Infamous or something like that, especially when he's grinding on the rails. If you remember, Cole used to grind on rails and that stuff with the electricity. Anyway, Sunset Overdrive will also be released the 28th of October 2014, all being well. Then they went on to announce, now, don't quote me on this, was it Ultra Super something Dead Rising 3? It was DLC for Dead Rising 3. Basically, it felt like fan service because there was new characters to the game. It looked very fun and should be out in November. Microsoft then went on to talk a little bit about Disney Fantasia Music Evolved and Dance Central Spotlight. Dance Central has never been in my sort of like headlights, so I've never really had an opinion about it. You?
It looks fun, but I'm not going into it.
Oh, that's fair point. Anyway, the release date for Dance Central Spotlight should be around fall 2014. They then went on to show a trailer and a gameplay demonstration of Fable Legends. This game, Xbox only again, and as well as the 4-player co-op being in it, there is now the option to also play as a villain. So you can have up to 5 players with one of you being the villain trying to mess up the heroes.
If we had an Xbox One, I would be getting Fable.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm a little bit wary about the Fable franchise because at one point they did kind of go downhill. But we'll see how it turns out. There's a beta coming out this fall for that if you're interested. Next they showed a trailer for Project Spark, which is out on the Xbox One and PC. This game feels a little bit like maybe Little Big Planet, but just bigger and 3D.
And prettier.
Well, that's debatable, but
I think it's prettier.
But you can basically create almost any game within its engine in that.
I did like this trailer. It was entertaining.
Yeah. The only thing at the end, they also announced that there would be Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day in the game. Now, some people I've heard don't really like this because he is an M-rated character and it seems that he's in an E game. But he has done that in the past with sort of Diddy Kong Racing and that. But to me, it wasn't that big a deal. Next, Microsoft went on to show a new IP in Ori and the Blind Forest. I
really like this game. The trailer made me tear up, if I'm honest.
I must admit, it actually does look like a really interesting game. And that I do like the 2D elements, the 2D cartoonish vibe that it gives off.
It is a platformer, isn't it?
I believe so. It does look like a platformer. It might have other elements in it, and that, like most platformers do these days. Now, there's one thing I know you got a little bit upset about, and that is during the conference it announced that it was only available on Xbox One.
But I have read online that it's going to come out for Xbox One, Xbox 360, and the PC. So
we will get to play it one way. It might not be the best version, but we'll definitely still get to play it. Unless, actually, we might get an Xbox One in the meantime. No, we won't. No.
Oh, maybe. We never know.
Never know.
No definite release date. They said fall.
Yes, yeah. Fall of this year, hopefully. Next, Microsoft went on to talk about Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is basically every Halo game in the main franchise available on the Xbox One.
I remember when they announced this that there was a huge cheer in the audience.
Yes, a lot of people seem to get quite hyped about this. Basically, they say a lot of it is going to be remastered, put up to 60 frames per second, 1080p. Basically, all the quality upgraded. They also said they would be having the original Halo 2 multiplayer, up to 100 multiplayer maps in total across all of the games. There would also be a grand total of 40,000 gamer score points available within this collection.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of points. That's a lot. Yeah. They said also that the Halo Nightfall series would be included in the collection. That is I think it's a TV series. I'm not 100% sure.
I've not heard of that.
Anyway, this show would also give you a background to Halo 5 Guardians. They also announced that there would be a beta for this game as well.
But the main collection is out on November
the 11th, 2014.
Yeah.
Next, they went on to talk about Inside, which is the spiritual successor to Limbo, if anyone remembers that game.
I remember Limbo. It's good.
It is good, especially if you like spiders, right?
Inside seemed to feature brainwashed zombie-like people.
Yeah, there wasn't much information given away about the game. It was basically just a gameplay trailer.
You play as a little boy.
Yeah, some sort of little kid wearing red. It looks very stealthy. It looks okay-ish, but I suppose we'll have to wait until there's more information. Apparently the game will be available first on Xbox One.
Next up is the ID program, and you're going to have to tell me a bit about this.
Basically, the ID program is a software program that Microsoft have got going to allow for indie developers to basically develop their own games for the Xbox One. So you can basically use this program to self-publish your games. They went on to demonstrate a lot of games that have been made through this program and that. Overall, if you like indie games, the ID program is going to be great for you. And especially if you are a developer, it's going to be good.
It sounds really exciting. It sounds like YouTube for game makers.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. They then went on to show a CG trailer, unfortunately, of Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is looking more and more like Uncharted, I must confess.
I must admit, during half of this trailer, I didn't even realise it was the Tomb Raider.
That is quite good, actually. I mean, even though I bash it for looking like Uncharted, the start of the trailer did look like a new and unique game. Something that was going to be psychological in that, because there was a psychiatrist talking to Lara, and it threw me off, like you said, threw you off as well. No release date announced or anything like that, just the CG trailer shown, unfortunately. Microsoft then went on to show off a personal interest I have, which is The Witcher 3. Basically, during this trailer, they showed off a gameplay demo where you would be hunting a griffin.
I think the quest was named Griffin Hunt or something like that.
Yes. And it looks like, I mean, it didn't look story-based, it looked more like a side quest, to be honest.
It didn't stand out for me, I'm sorry. No. I mean, I'm not really that into the Witcher series, and although I was a bit interested in The Witcher 3, it didn't stand out for me.
The Witcher series, I've played briefly the second one. I've never played the first one, but it does look like a series I would like to get into. The only thing I'm disappointed about is that Witcher 1 was PC only, Witcher 2 was PC and 360 only, and Witcher 3 is now available on all of them. So if you are getting into the series and you've been in the Sony camp for a while, like I have, you're going to be a bit at a loss to what the hell's going on. I hope that doesn't happen with the final product, but we'll see. Next was shown off a CG trailer for Phantom Dust, which would only be available on Xbox One. Unfortunately for me, this was just, like I said, a CG trailer. It didn't give too much about the game away, but it looks like it's going to be a fighting game. Next was The Division. I am also interested in this game.
It was shown at E3 last year. I remember getting really hyped about them closing the car door.
Yes,
I hugged it.
As they walk past and that. Third-person shooter. Looks like it's going to be very sort of multiplayer-based. So if you're a single-player fan, you're probably not going to get along with this game very well. There was a gameplay demo shown, although I'm sure the voice acting was a little bit scripted.
It's out in 2015, which I thought was a bit sad. I was expecting it this year.
I can understand that, but I also understand where Ubisoft, who are developing, are coming from. I mean, if they released it this year, it would probably clash with Assassin's Creed Unity. They also announced that the new content would be first on Xbox One, similar to how COD works again. So that's a shame, especially because I'll probably be getting The Division on my PlayStation. Next, they showed a CG trailer for Scalebound. This is a new IP from Platinum Games, the developers of Bayonetta.
If I had an Xbox One, I would be so excited about this game.
Yes, it did. It did look interesting. I thought that the character design of the main character was a little bit. Did it at all remind you of a certain reinvented character?
No?
So it didn't remind you of the new Dante?
Yes, when he winked. He turned around and he winked, and I was like, oh my god, that's Dante.
So, but anyway, we'll see how the character actually is when the game comes out.
I was really excited, because at first I didn't get hyped about it, but then he got up on the dragon and he rode it into the sky, and I was like, ah!
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be interesting. We'll see how it works out. I mean, Platinum games are crazy when it comes to their gameplay, very action-based in that, and I'm sure it should live up to its hype. Anyway, this game will be Xbox One only. Next, they showed a trailer for Crackdown. This, again, is going to be an Xbox One exclusive, but I was actually quite pleased and impressed that it was cel-shaded.
It looked good.
I mean, my brother was really into the Crackdown series, and I'm sure he's getting a little bit hyped for it.
That would be, yeah.
But
it was a very, very well-made trailer.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it for Microsoft's conference, E3 2014. What did you think of it overall then?
I thought that Microsoft really kicked off the conferences this year. It was a good show. I think it was one of the better conferences overall, after having seen all of them.
Yeah, I'm glad that they focused on the games, basically. They didn't really focus on the hardware, there was no sign of the Kinect there. They basically just focused on the games that would be coming out over the next year for their system.
It was well-paced as well.
That's true. I must also give a shout out that I did love the wristbands they gave the people in the audience, and I feel that Microsoft actually used the colour changing wristbands to their advantage during the trailers.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, if you had to give them a grade overall to how their conference went, how would you give it?
I would grade them B+.
B+. Yeah, B+, maybe A-, I would.
Well, that's because you're nice. I'm not so nice.
You're not so nice. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video. What are your thoughts on the Microsoft conference from E3 2014? What was your favourite game? Leave a comment below, because I'd love to hear what you thought. Anyway, until next time, I've been Darcblade.
And Failbunny.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like for more.